But yeah, so wrist, and you get to look super cool. But wrist compression, what for cyst mitigation?
Maybe I will get one. Maybe I'll get a cyst wrist mitigator.
Yes, a sister wrist, a mister,
It's too bad you're not.
woo!
It's too bad you're not still considered my sister, because then it would be a sister wrist mitigator. You know what I mean?
Dude, dude, what?
Brother, sibling.
Y'all, Evan is an insane person and I am sick. So this one is going to be off the rails.
You
By
know
Evan
what?
is an
Honestly,
insane person.
I think we should try to. Oh, yeah. So, preamble, we are. Meredith is sick, and I am in the F Gates United Lounge at San Francisco International Airport because I didn't want to miss a concert today. So,
And
this is proof positive that you can do this anywhere at any time.
Truly, the barrier for
Mhm.
entry is low. All right, let's kick this shit off.
All right. It's Galaxy Quest. Let's do this.
Welcome, friends and chosen family, to Brother Sibling Movie, a podcast featuring two siblings, that's us, talking about movies we love from our childhood and discovering some new ones, maybe for the very first time, centered around a different theme every season.
Yes. I'm your brother, Evan Kerna. Jet lag.
And you're in the same time zone, and I'm your sibling, Mayor Morgan. Evan, what is our season this season? What is our theme this season? I mean,
We're talking about 90s science fiction and fantasy films, especially ones that we remember fondly from our childhood, and some that we might discover for the first time. This one, Galaxy Quest, is pretty good, and I remember it from childhood. 1999. I was 12. You were an age 9.
9. Yeah, man, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Let's
What are your
just
thoughts and
start out.
takeaways?
I think my main thought and takeaway is that this was the perfect film to do this week.
Yeah, it's a really, really good background movie. It's perfect to like listen to. It's perfect to have on while you're folding laundry, and that's not a dig at it. Like,
no,
you need those movies in your life.
It fulfills a very specific purpose of being, as I believe you put it, a B+ movie, which is like, it's entertaining, it's great, and it's also like, it's fine. Like, it's
I
just,
honestly
it's fine.
think it's
and it's
more
fun.
like I think it's more like a B movie, but B movie has a different kind of connotation. And honestly, if I'm being totally honest, it's probably more like a B-. But like, it's really, but it's not that bad to dump it down into B- territory. I'll be the nice teacher.
Yeah, you'll be nice. And like, Evan is in the process of like moving and working crazy hours at a studio, and like then decided to do like a 20-hour trip in San Francisco from Los Angeles to see a fucking concert. I don't understand your lifestyle, but I support you.
The truth is, some friends from LA were going to it, and a lot of friends from the Bay Area. And I was like, I'd gotten really excited before I took on a commercial and was going to be working crazy hours. And I was like, just succumbed to the idea that I wasn't going to have any fun. And then I was like, no, I'm going to have fun. Damn it. I'm going to buy a plane ticket and get up there for a day and come back in a day. It's going to be worth it.
And then go to work tomorrow.
I will be going back to work tomorrow, but it's worth it. Like I said, for good times.
For good times and whatnot. And I, in my frail Victorian boy state of health.
You're like a mistress of Edgar Allan Poe's.
My God, I am dying from the consumption like every other week. It's so very annoying. Just wasting away over here. But I say all that to say that Galaxy Quest I'm so happy we did this movie because this is not a Princess Mononoke. This is not a Matrix. This is
No,
not a Midsummer Night's Dream. This is
no,
not a
by
let's have
far.
a high level discussion about beauty and storytelling and a hero's journey. This is like fucking lasers. There's some cleavage. There's some fucking spaceships. It's real silly. There's jokes. There's goofs.
There's
It's
goose,
just
there's light satire, there's almost an
yes.
F-bomb, very close to an F-bomb,
Like
but it
one
needed to get a PG
time.
rating.
Yeah. So, okay. So before we do the what is this film about,
Yes.
let's talk about our connection to the movie. You know what's the best part? Sorry, another quick
What?
aside, because this
Yeah.
episode, it's already gonna go off the fucking rails. So like, let's
I
just go
think
for it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think this episode is all asides.
I think it might
I
be.
think if we spend 2 to 3 times as much time sidetracking the conversation as we do talking about the movie, this is gonna be golden.
I think it'll be awesome. Um, oh, so here's a sidetrack of sidetracks.
Yes.
So, I said in our last episode, Midsummer Night's Dream, we were talking about I finally got diagnosed with ADHD, adult diagnosis, baby, get a therapist,
Is that
psychiatrist.
called is that called AADHD?
A oh, I see, adult. That's fair. It would be
You
ADHD, adult diagnosed ADHD.
ADHD, and then it just sounds like a person with ADHD just
Trying
trying to
just
say a
trying to
word.
remember. Um, so I got diagnosed, right? Great, awesome.
Super.
I finally got medication. I got, I don't know, whatever it is, extended release
That's the
Adderall.
good stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, so I took it today. I took it yesterday and today, even though I was sick. I was like, I've just started taking this medication, so I don't want to take a break from it just yet.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, normally it's effective for like about 9 hours in my system, I would say, if I'm like feeling tip top.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was effective for like 5, and then I just like crashed in the middle of the day, and I have a very strong feeling the same will happen today. Even
Nice.
though this is so fun. It's so fun taking Adderall because I get to have the generic bottle, whatever it is, says amphetamine salts, which is the
Right.
actual like what the generic is. And I have to like sign all of this paperwork to be like, I'm not a meth head, and I had to do drug testing to be like, I'm not a meth head, trying to get.
I'm glad that there's paperwork signed that says that
There
you're
is.
not a meth head, because I don't know if I would have believed it otherwise.
I mean, I do still have all my teeth, so that's a pretty strong indication.
You got very strong teeth. You got strong person teeth.
I got strong teeth. I got them strong teeth.
We
So
got
anyway,
strong
Galaxy
teeth in our
Quest.
family. I should become a meth head. I've never had a single cavity in my entire life, which is
Dude,
crazy.
I have a cavity in my mouth right now that I'm getting fixed in like the end of the month. And even when I went in for my cleaning, the dentist was like, I have no notes about your whatever dental hygiene. Like, you take really good care of your teeth. And I was like, yeah, dude, brush twice a day, fucking floss that shit. Like, absolutely. I don't want to get cavities. I don't want to get bullshit. Yeah. And then he was like, well, you do have a cavity. And I was like, son of a bitch.
I did everything right.
I know. And then yet again, I was just like, well, Evan won the genetic lottery of our parents, so I just accept what's happened.
I assume that by there'll be a moment where I turn 65 where every bone in my body will break and it will all come crashing down
you'll
like
just
the
like
House of Cards.
Yeah, you'll just like liquefy on the spot.
Well, I had a good run.
Gonna go be puddle now.
I feel like I must have inherited whatever Grandpa Jack's genetic heritage was, because that man sounds like, I mean, only met him a handful of times, but the man seemed like he was a bull. He was a real cowboy guy.
He's a real deal cowboy. He imbued some real strong fucking Oklahoma, Texas stock that I got none of. I got none of that.
Yeah, and probably a little bit of emotional constipation, I'm sure. But
Yeah,
that's just
for
par for the
sure.
course when you are born in Oklahoma and
In the, like, 30s as a
do
man.
cattle stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I have the
Anyway,
other I inherited all of our frail, waspy genes from our father.
yes, I'll see you in the Hamptons.
I'll see you in the Cape, darling. So
Yes.
anyway, let's talk about Galaxy Quest. What do you remember about this movie when you were a kid, dude?
Honestly, we probably saw it in the theater. We probably had a good time. I probably laughed, but I wasn't like a Star Trek fan back then. So everything that
Yeah.
I was getting out of it was like stereotypes. And now I've seen every Star Trek series at least once through.
Shit.
Well, okay, not including Voyager, but I mean, they're great and there's a reason people like them. I realized
Yeah.
once I started watching them like 10 years ago. It's like, this is
Yeah?
really good shit. I love it. This is great. But I'm not like, unfortunately, I don't know the lore like the back of my hand like some people do. So if
Mm.
there's any sort of like embedded references in this movie, like I don't get them. In fact,
I know.
Futurama, one of my favorite shows, I keep rewatching it. And as I watch new Star Trek things, I'm like, oh, that's a start. I'm realizing
You,
Futurama,
like,
which is
see the
my favorite
connections.
show. I'm like, this movie is half Star Trek references, like 100%.
That's fantastic. I know I've not dived I haven't watched a ton of Star Trek episodes.
You gotta watch Deep
I've
Space Nine. It's the
I
best.
know. I've watched I've watched the, like I've done the crib notes version of watching the Star Trek movies that came out that have whatever
Mhm.
one of the Chris's in them.
Yeah, one of the Chris's.
One of them.
Chris
Pine.
Evergreen,
That's right. And I
Chris
will say
Poplar.
Chris Linden, Chris
These are
Rowan.
wood jokes.
We can just keep naming trees.
We could.
Chris Maple.
Brother Sibling Movie, Episode 5, Naming Trees.
Oh no. Exactly. Fucking
But
oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I've watched the Star Trek movies. I've watched some of the show, but not a ton.
Mhm.
I personally have a deep love for the Orville, which is another
Oh,
type of like,
also
Star
great.
Trek-esque thing.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
would
Seth
hazard that
MacFarlane's
Seth
foray into
MacFarlane's
being James Kirk.
exactly. I would hazard that it is significantly better than Galaxy Quest.
It is.
So yeah, we saw this in the theater when we were kids. I don't remember really much of it. I was freaked out by the little cannibalistic miner creatures. That freaked me out.
Understandable.
And I just remember that I was super excited because I was 9, you were 12, and I think we went with Mikey and Lance's kids, Max and Terry.
Oh.
We went,
Mhm.
and they're both a little bit older than you are. They were maybe like
Yes.
14 and 15 or 14 and 16 or something. And I
Mhm.
was like, I'm so fucking cool. I'm one of the boys. I'm like all these cool older boys just like me. Like in a different it's a miracle that it took me so long to be like, maybe do not identify as woman. Maybe non-straight. Because I was just like, yeah, I get to hang out with the older boys. But it wasn't like, oh my God, boys. It was, fuck yeah, me too, man. Also one of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Walking around in your Jinko jeans and your baggy t-shirt with Limp Bizkit CDs hanging out of your pocket.
Could not be less accurate.
I'm cool too.
I was like, I'm a boy, but a fabulous one.
Yeah, fabulous.
I'm fabulous. So yeah, this is a movie. It exists. It got made, which I think is always we should celebrate when creative things get made.
This is my rule of thumb, right? So like there's 100%, right? Like Lawrence of Arabia, like Citizen Kane, I don't know, some other better examples too. Like 100% movie, right?
Yes.
I figure no matter what like if a movie gets, and this goes into like the rating system, right? Of like, how good is this
Yeah.
movie, quote unquote.
Right.
Which is a stupid way to think about art, but it's, fun because, and it's become more codified these days as like what nerds like to do, cinephiles. Anyway, I figure that any movie that has gotten made that I'm watching automatically gets 50%. Like,
Yes.
it's just, you get a starting rate of like at least 50, because honestly, it's so hard to make a movie. It's even harder to make a good movie. Making a great movie is so unlikely that it's like seems almost impossible. So right away, 50%, just because
Yes.
I got something in front of my eyeballs that's edited. And let's not forget that 50% is still not a passing grade, but it's not zero.
Zero.
It's still an F, but it's an F with effort.
You for sure failed, but like you got a great personality, kid.
That's right. Yeah, you did the thing, and that's worth something.
You did the thing. So I'm just gonna read again.
Let's read the thing.
I would say we are giving 50% effort on this particular podcast, like this particular episode.
I'd give us 65. Like, I'm a little bit more generous.
I think you are at 70 and I'm maybe at 50, and so we average.
Split the difference. Yeah, I can dig that. Yeah, I can. Let me synopsize this. So,
fucking ChatGPT this bitch.
So Galaxy Quest is a sci-fi comedy about a group of actors from a canceled space adventure TV show who end up getting mistaken for a real space crew by an alien race called the Thermians. They believe the Thermians have no understanding of lying or fabricating truths, so they don't understand fiction. Therefore, they look at the TV show, which is very much like a Star Trek-esque show, as historical records. The Thermians are under attack by a race of aliens called the Fatu Cray, led by General Saris, who's a scary humanoidish reptilian alien guy. And he's basically killing and torturing poor little peace-loving alien people. So the Thermians, one of which is Rainn Wilson, I realized as I was watching, which is like, oh, that's cool. I realized
that too. I was like, holy shit, he's like the super tall one.
Yeah. They recruit them, starting with the actor Jason Nesmith, who plays Commander Peter Quincy Taggart, a James Kirk-esque stand-in, to help fight this very real enemy with the help of the very not real crew. A sort of side story, or how we're introduced to the characters, is that most of these actors are now doing the comic convention and the science fiction con circuit, and basically don't have much in the way of a career, any of them, except for doing appearances from their canceled science fiction TV show, doing autograph signings with nerds. And so the movie becomes kind of like I suppose you could say that it's most of their arcs are about kind of coming to terms with who they are, and playing fake heroes but becoming real heroes, and also in a way kind of not taking the fandom for granted, because some of the fans actually end up helping them solve puzzles that help move the movie along.
And an adorable baby Justin Long plays
so funny
main nerd. I was like, you're so adorable.
It's like, it's the Apple guy.
Yeah, it's so cute.
We should talk about the characters, because they're fun.
Go. First of all, I would like to say, from last week to this week, we got back-to-back Sam Rockwell, and that's never a bad time.
We should just switch up the entire theme of this and just watch Charlie's Angels and get the Sam Rockwell 90s trifecta.
Dude, yes. Well, and the best part is
I know Charlie's Angels came out in 2000, but as previously discussed, 2000 is still the 90s.
2000 is still the 90s. I realized too that this Galaxy Quest came out in 1999. A Midsummer Night's Dream came out in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Rockwell looks a lot older in Galaxy Quest.
It's the
What are you
goatee,
gonna do?
honestly.
It's the mustache. But
Mhm,
Sam Rockwell is in it. He's very fun. Kind of the like hanger-on cast member.
mhm.
But Tim Allen plays the main character or the main
Yes,
like captain guy.
yes. Jason Nesmith is the actor's name. His
Is
character name
the
is Commander Peter Quincy, captain of the
yes.
fictional starship the NSEA Protector.
Um,
He's a stand-in for James Kirk in that he is likable but highly egotistical,
yes. Yes.
very full of himself.
Yes. It's and then Alan Rickman plays I guess he's like the science officer
Basically,
on the ship, right?
he's the smart alien. That's all
He's
you
the
need to
smart
know.
alien, and Alan Rickman is so fucking funny. He's so
Yeah,
goddamn funny.
he might be the best thing about this movie.
He's far and away one of the best things about this entire film. Like, just if you enjoy watching Alan Rickman act on film, you should
Mhm.
just watch Galaxy Quest because he also has to wear a prosthetic the whole time, and he's like, I was Richard the Third. I was Richard the Third. And everybody is like,
I
I used
suspect
to
that
be an
there was
actual actor
I
kind of
suspect that there was like
character.
a lot of their actual personalities imbued in this role
I would bet that. I would bet.
because yeah, Alexander Dane, Alan Rickman's character is, yes, a serious actor, not unlike Alan Rickman, who's done
Not
theater
unlike
and
Alan
done
Rickman,
things.
in fact.
And Tim Allen is like a TV dad who came up doing stand up and is not a serious actor. I suspect that some of their some of
Yes.
that dynamic made it into the film.
Yes. And Sigourney Weaver plays the
Looking
hot.
very attractive in this movie.
Okay.
I would say the blonde wig is working, honestly.
The blonde wig is working. The fake nails are working. The push-up bra is definitely working.
Did you notice
Sigourney,
this little detail? The aliens. So the aliens are actually secretly like big squid creatures, but they have on but they
like silver jumpsuits. I
yeah they
Are you going
they
to talk
project
about how
humanoid things.
the one female alien also has her jumpsuit unzipped
Unzipped,
to the
yeah.
boobies?
I thought that
Yes,
was
and
really
all the
funny.
other ones do, and I was like, I got that. I was like, oh fuck yeah. But yeah, Sigourney Weaver's character is, think about every single woman in sci-fi pre like 2010 who was just there
Hmm.
to be hot and
Yeah.
didn't actually have anything. And to be fair, Sigourney Weaver is, I would say, I mean, a phenomenal actor and
Mhm.
has obviously been in like so many sci-fi movies, is like ass kicking taking names kind of person.
Yeah.
Plays a lot of those characters, and so it was very funny to see her parodying a lot of her kind of what she's known for, I guess.
Yeah.
But she looks fucking hot as shit in this
No,
film.
very much agreed. I think that there's a lot. I think that she's yeah, she's good at what she does, you know? She's
She
making it
really
happen.
does. And she's
And
real tall.
the
Oof.
funny thing is that it's the whole gag is that basically her job on the ship is to repeat everything that the computer says, and
Right.
she does it with verve and aplomb. Oh, and then I don't know, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, I mean, it's sort of like the uh, part of the humor comes from the fact that the aliens race, the Thermians, have basically recreated their ship and
Right.
everything. So all of the sort of like fake, like I'm just tapping buttons because I'm an actor and
Mhm.
I'm not just making it up. They've observed all of that and made the controls do that. So all these things, so most of the gags center around the actors having to try to figure out how the ship and things actually work because they just made it all up, and now
Right.
these aliens have observed them very closely to figure out how it works, and now they're like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
So
I
that's a
think
funny concept.
Tim Allen's character at one point says something along the lines of, like it was plywood on a soundstage in Burbank. Um,
Hmm.
it was, yeah, and it's very much that. And Tony Shalhoub is in this. Daryl Mitchell is one
Hmm.
of the other. Those are kind of the main 5 crew. It's Alan Rickman,
Yeah.
Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Daryl Mitchell, and
And then,
Tony
of course,
Shalhoub.
Sam Rockwell
And
as
Sam Rockwell is
Guy.
the hanger-on.
Yeah. He's so good at being that, like,
He's so good.
totally out of his depth. But, like, he's most of his roles around this time are like Bill Paxton in Aliens, like, oh, game over, man, just
Game
like
over, man.
super bravado. But as soon as
Yeah.
anything bad happens, he just like wets his pants and
He just
runs
loses
away.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very enjoyable in this movie. And what was the other thing I was gonna say? Fucking Jesus. I don't
Was
know,
it
man.
Thermians or was it? I like the way that the aliens talk. They're like,
need your help.
yeah.
And they also have this, because they're kind of wearing, the conceit is, that they're wearing like a whatever visual field thing so that they appear humanoid, but they actually look like giant cool squids.
Yeah, let's get into that. Let's talk Stan Winston, because I mean he's a
Oh
big
my
part
God.
of the special
Okay.
effects of this movie, and the alien
So
effects are actually pretty cool.
So basically, the only thing that I really want to talk about, maybe in this entire episode,
Yeah,
is
just do a solid 30 on it.
on just Stan Winston. So so in watching this, I was like, wow, the creature design and the sets and like all of that stuff is actually really, really good and like really fucking cool. Who was the creature shop behind this? Like, who did all of that? And then I discovered fucking Stan Winston.
Legend.
Wedgend is about what I was about to say. He's a wedgend.
A legend.
He's
a true legend.
Stan Winston, the wedgend.
Mr. Legend himself, Stan Winston.
Stan Winston. So Stan Winston Studios did all the creature work for this movie. Stan Winston, as Evan probably does know, but I did not, because I do not work in the fucking Hollywood machine.
Man.
But Evan works more in the world of, practical effects and stop motion animation. So I'm sure you know who this person is. But just to give like you all a little primer, this dude is fucking legit. He apparently like initially wanted to be an actor, but then after like not being able to get roles, he started working in art departments and in creature design shops in the 60s.
Just like it happens with the rest of us. Couldn't do the thing you wanted to do. End up in the art department.
Baby. So this dude has worked his Terminator, Aliens, The Thing, the first 3 Jurassic Park movies, Edward Scissorhands, Big Fish, Iron Man. Like, he's
done it all.
He's won 2 Emmys. He's won 4 Academy Awards. He worked on over 60 projects in his lifetime, whether that be short film, television, movies, etc. He is like a giant in the industry of creature shops.
Prosthetics, creature effects, the whole 9 yards.
The whole thing. He also
I learned from my... No, you had...
I was just going to say he's born in Richmond, Virginia, just to...
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Just to kind of do a little, like, humble brag. Even though I'm not from Richmond, Virginia, I live here now, and I feel very cool when people live from here.
But you've made it your chosen home, so that's important.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, dude, fucking Stan Winston, man. Evan, tell me about this dude.
You pretty much covered it. I mean, you know about as much as I do, but just he's... his work is... includes all kinds of things. I mean, he designed the alien from Aliens, right? From Alien. His studio was sort of like an all-around creature shop, right? So it wasn't just one thing. He focused on mechanics, prosthetics, animatronics, puppetry. Like, he did all of those things and was a genius at combining and using his team to combine all of those aspects in a bunch of different ways to create really interesting and convincing, importantly, effects. And he's the master of it.
He had, I think, so he passed away in 2008,
Mhm.
at the age of like 67 or something.
Mhm.
He had he had something like 5 different workshops in and around Los Angeles that were
Mhm.
all sort of dedicated to different specialties, but they did all work together. So it might be like, well, this is like the mechanical shop, or this is the,
I would
uh,
imagine that he was
whatever.
running out of room for everything when he was
Yeah.
trying to do it.
And he was also a big proponent and got on the like digital train very early,
Mhm.
and was a big proponent of melding digital and practical together.
Yeah.
Um, where a lot of people, I think, who had his background and everything may have looked at digital as, oh my God, it's taking
Yeah,
our computers
impractical and
are,
early on, they're taking our jobs,
yeah,
etcetera.
all of that stuff. But he definitely, like, he even had a digital art studio as well. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
no, he was I mean, innovator is probably the word that comes
mhm,
to mind when I think of what his legacy is, right? Because he just yeah, he did it all and made it all happen in a great way, and
yeah,
he was always forward thinking, I think, which is what you're pointing out.
he was, yeah, and he, I mean, Galaxy Quest is but one mere example of his incredible work. Um, I was telling Evan
I
we may
know.
have to just do like a Stan Winston season of his movies and just go through and be like, fuck the rest of it. We're only talking about creatures this season. We're only talking about Sam Winston creatures. Um,
Bro, I watched recently an incredible movie called Invaders from Mars that I didn't even know existed, directed by, Tobe Toby? Tobe Hooper? I don't actually know how you pronounce his name, but he did Texas Chainsaw Massacre and, Poltergeist.
yeah.
I mean, there's contention as to whether he did Poltergeist. Some people are like, yeah, Steven Spielberg basically took the reins from him. But anyway, it's him, and then John Dykstra did the visual effects for this Invaders from Mars
Yeah.
movie, which is the guy who did all the invented the technology that made Star Wars happen. And Stan Winston is importantly part of making the
Yes.
aliens very cool looking in that movie. Anyway, Invaders from Mars is crazy. There's like a kid alone with his hot teacher running around his town trying to convince people the aliens are invading, and nobody believes him, and the aliens look insane, and it's just a great little boy fantasy movie that we should talk about sometime because it's
We'll probably
balls to the wall wild.
I think we may have to do like a creature feature season of just
Yeah,
movies that have insane, awesome creatures. And I would say Galaxy Quest like has really cool creatures in it. It has
I really like the part where Tony Shalhoub makes out with one and is
oh my
not
God.
turned off by the tentacle thing. It's like,
Tony
whoa.
Shalhoub is I would just like to say Tony Shalhoub's character in this film is essentially human Valium. He exists at like just what could possibly go wrong, man, is fucking fine. I guess it's like, yeah, whatever. There's aliens. Oh, we're on a spaceship. Can I get a
Yeah.
sandwich? Like, what? I mean, I guess, like, oh, but this crazy, like, alien lady is making out with me and covering me in tentacles. Like, let's get nasty, girl. Like,
He's like, I read Japanese magazines. I know what's up.
he's like, I know all about tentacle porn. Thank you very much.
I
Um,
recently got back into Tony Shalhoub because I love Monk, the TV
yeah.
series, and it is on Netflix right now. So I've been
Oh,
like
nice.
slowly watching old episodes of that. It takes place in San Francisco. Uh, hypochondriac, germaphobe, OCD, detective. Great,
It's
great stuff.
delightful. But yeah, so it's God, excuse me. But I would say that, that when they go on this planet to find a beryllium sphere, some bullshit, right? Like, oh, we need a thing for our ship to, and
Some
they're telling me,
some MacGuffin, yeah.
who gives a shit? There's these little digital creatures
Oh
that
yeah,
are like the little like fish baby cannibal things. I don't know what they are. but those are all digital. Then there's this like multi-eyed, weird, two-legged creature that is a practical effect.
Oh, yeah, that's like some dude in a costume. You can
It's like
tell.
it's genuinely like you can tell it's like a small-ish person hunched over in a suit with their legs, and like their
Their arms
arms
doing
are
like this.
opening and closing the
Yeah.
jaw of the thing. Like but I was like, oh yeah, it's like silly or whatever. But then I was like, but that's a really cool puppet. That's like a really fucking cool puppet, actually.
Yeah.
And when things like are exploding, they get like blasted with like blood and guts and like all these weird viscous things.
Yeah,
And
the insides of aliens in 90s movies are so
oh,
interesting and enticing to me. For some reason, like every alien had like goopy green goop inside of it,
I wonder
in
if
every
it
movie
has
you watch.
I wonder if it has to do anything with that Nickelodeon show that we were all exposed to as children. What was it
Slime
called?
Time.
Slime Time or Slimed? I can't remember. It was like, you get slimed. And then for some reason, people were like, it's totally fine. Cover children in slime. That's not weird. Look, y'all, the 90s were an interesting time. Oh, good. There's a car alarm going off in my neighborhood. I hope you can't hear that.
A little bit, but what the heck? It was called Double Dare, and you got slimed
Double
on that
Dare!
when
And you got
lost
slimed.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Inside of Aliens and all like 80s and 90s movies was just like, I don't even know what
It was like Jello.
it would be like if you put silly putty in a microwave. It's like if you put silly putty in a microwave until it gets like kind of gluey. But yeah,
I want to learn how they like projected that, like in all the movies where aliens explode. I want to know how they did that.
What if it's like a t-shirt cannon, but instead of a t-shirt, it just has
Filled
like
with gelatinous goo
inside of it?
Disgusting.
That would be disgusting. Yeah, the creatures are great, and like even like Alan Rickman's prosthetic head thing is really cool looking.
Another cool thing about the scene that you were just describing with the weird little creature, two-legged thing that was probably a puppet with a person inside, is that in that scene, Tim Allen fights a giant rock monster called Garignac, which I learned through my research was actually going to be a practical puppet, like a practical big build that they would then composite into the scene. Like, I don't know if I think it was going to be like a full-on puppet that they would, but because of time and budget constraints, they turned it into a giant CG creature. It's too bad because that would have been cool. But I guess that they used they like made a whole maquette out of this thing and then used that to sort of texture and create the actual CG thing, which is just nice to know that somebody made a real version of that.
Yeah, I think if folks listening get nothing out of listening to this podcast, I think we really just, Evan and I love art departments in films. They are
art,
the
costume, production, design.
Art, costume, production, design, fabrication, all of that stuff. We just love it. Because it's the stuff those are the
those you make stuff with your hands, right? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we grew up doing a lot of that.
We both grew up doing a lot of that, and you and I both grew up being pretty good at fabrication and making stuff, and we still both are. Like, that is I would say a big part of both of our lives, whether professionally or personally.
Yeah, making tables all the time.
I know, it's whatever. We're not going to get into my many projects that are approximately somewhere between 25 and 70% finished. But
So many,
Art,
so many unfinished projects. It's a wonder you didn't realize you had ADHD sooner.
it's fun when you're raised by our mother because so many of these things are just very normal. Um, where it's like,
I've realized that and something I'm actively trying to combat these days is that I've realized that in many professional settings, I've become like the number two hand of people with ADHD,
oh man,
which
oh, that's a
and
hard
like
one.
gotten really good at like anticipating needs and managing the chaos of what that's like to have that person as a manager. And I think I can now safely put that back into the context of where it comes from.
I think I think I had the same thing. I think I was so good at managing people with ADHD for so long that I was like, well, obviously not me though, because I manage
Right.
it very well. And then it was like, but also I need a manager. Um, like I need to
Right. There's a difference between professional mayor and personal
Oh,
interior
dude,
life mayor, home mayor.
professional mayor is like on their shit, gets things done, scheduling, etc., all of it. Personal mayor is like throwing a handful of glitter into a fucking gale, where it's just like, who knows, but it's fun.
I think that's actually how they begin to map the inside of tornadoes in Twisters.
In Twisters, really? They throw glitter
My,
in them, do they?
my second favorite
Scientifically?
movie. Hmm.
Scientific, huh? Hey,
It's scientific glitter.
do you want to know a fun fact about glitter?
Yes.
I believe
Yes.
it was created during the Manhattan Project.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it was like something where they were like, we need small pieces of metal to like see some like blast radius or
Hmm.
like airflow something, but like we need something that when it explodes, we can see where that explosion goes. And they
Makes
fucking
sense.
created glitter. They didn't use it for anything in the Manhattan Project at the end of the day. But I'm pretty sure that's where it was created. I don't know. Maybe that's not real and I'm spreading misinformation, but I do think it's very fun to think of a lot of scientists
Let's
creating.
keep spreading misinformation.
Let's keep doing it. I just think it's really funny that like a group of scientists in the Nevada, New Mexico desert working on the single most deadly weapon that humans have
Ever known to
ever
mankind.
created, harnessing the power of the sun for sheer destruction. We're also like, look at this, it's sparkly.
Yeah. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of glitter.
Where was that, fucking Chris Nolan? Where was that in the film?
Great legacy.
Really? It's
Oh,
really fun.
God.
But anyway, I don't know, man. I don't have a ton else to say about Galaxy Quest as a movie. It's
Here's
really
something
fun.
cool.
It's
Here's
really
another
fun.
cool. Here's
What?
a
Go
cool piece of
ahead.
trivia that I
I love
learned
trivia.
um, in my research. Um, the very first draft of the movie was actually a much darker satire version, a lot edgier, a lot more intense
Really?
language. Yeah, it was called Captain Starshine was the original thing,
Which is
and I
a
might be spreading
sillier.
misinformation because this is purely off of ChatGPT's like, tell me some interesting trivia about this movie. And I didn't do any of my own research, so this might be completely false. But
I would
Captain
also wait.
Starshine,
Captain
original trimmer
Starshine.
tones and heavier language and an R rating, which sounds awesome. I would love to see that version of this movie.
I feel like they missed an opportunity because Captain Starshine sounds like a comedy film and Galaxy Quest sounds like a serious film.
They switched.
They just, like,
And
Captain
actually,
Starshine.
there is a scene when when Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver are kind of like making their way through the big mechanical machine thing that they have to,
Oh, the Crusher bits, yeah.
the crusher thing that's like one of the final things. There's she apparently drops the F bomb. She says "fuck that" when she sees it, but they dubbed over it, but you can to say screw that, but you can still see her mouth.
Oh yeah, you
You can clearly
can.
see her mouth
That's really
saying
funny.
the
Yeah, you
F-bomb, which
can.
I think is funny that they were like, it needs to have a PG rating,
It's
man.
got
Like nothing about this movie is an R-rated movie. Like we can't do that.
you can't do it. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I love it. Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like we've said all we need to
But
say about this film
I
in a
just
lot of ways.
looking at Captain, but just reading about this movie, I was like, man, this is what I can see where it was going, because I was like, this is what
Right.
this movie should be. Like, I love the idea that it had like an edgier tone, that like all of the
Mhm.
actors had more of like a conflicted and like not happy relationship with their like stardom in the fan world, and that it
Right.
was like a little bit more, like punching at the fandom and like their
Right.
insanity and stuff. And it also apparently didn't have quite as happy of an ending. Like, I don't know,
Mm.
I can see how like if this was like just a bit edgier and like a bit
Mm.
darker, that like it could have been like a really good movie. And as it stands, it's like a nice movie, but
It's fine.
just kind of, it's like fluffy.
Yeah, it's fluffy. My I used to be in a comic book like book club,
You seem
and
like you used to be in a comic book. Like you
think
jumped out of the pages of a comic book and became a human being.
I have been given the feedback on my entire personality that, quote, "You're like a real life cartoon character."
Hmm. Yeah. Could you
So,
be a little less
how
Muppety?
about just less? Just I feel like that's sort of the overarching feedback I've gotten in my life is just
Take it down
less.
like 5 notches.
Like 5 to 8 notches down would be really ideal.
Well, here
So
we like you just the way that you are.
here I am something. Who knows what?
Falling asleep from the sickness.
I
Jolly
literally
good.
was just like my brain immediately just derailed and I was looking down at my desk and I was like, "Oh, I have a thing on my desk." And then I was like, "You're recording right now." Anywho,
This is going to
so
make it into a supercut. Mayor forgets we're recording.
yes, truly.
I also didn't kind of,
Wait, no, I
it
had another
just
thought.
dawned on me. Okay, you go first, because I'm better at remembering my thoughts.
I don't remember what it was now. You go, fucking shit.
Tim Allen was Buzz Lightyear, which I realize is a good segue for him into getting into this movie, and probably the reason it happened.
Yes.
Hmm.
Oh wait, I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis, it could have had a darker tone.
Hmm.
I will say, just speaking to the theme of fandom, right? Because
Hmm.
it obviously like it opens on a comic convention.
Hmm.
It fans end up being the people that like help save the day, blah blah blah. Um,
Hmm.
I think that there's always a very hard line you have to walk with fans, right? Of
Hmm.
making fun of them a
Hmm.
bit while
Yeah.
also not being like, "Oh god, you're so fucking stupid that you like this thing that we made," or like
Well, that's exactly the line that this movie rides, and
yes.
clearly they end up like it. The whole movie feels like it was written by a Star Trek fan, because
Oh,
it comes down so
100%.
hard on like, which makes sense. But
100%.
exactly, I mean, like it's clearly very much like, yes, these people are nerds, but ultimately their nerdiness is right on. And I don't feel like that's the tone that the movie would have these days, because this came out at a time when it was still where it was we're still living it post like Revenge of the Nerds, where it was like
Yeah,
being the nerd was still looked down upon by quote unquote normal society, but
right,
we wanted to elevate because we always want to go with the underdog. But now
right.
nerddom is so prevalent everywhere. Like since the 2000s, there was just this
Yeah,
boom in like comic book movies and it becoming popular culture and everything.
yeah.
So I think if this movie was made today, it would have a very different tone and take on
I
fandom. It might be a
I
little bit more nuanced.
I agree because this is definitely kind of boilerplate depiction of fans in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But also, hey,
But at a time when they needed that kind of
in a
depiction,
time when
like
they needed it, they needed the
Mhm.
depiction and being like,
yeah, we're
here's
kind of nerdy, and like some of these things are sad, but ultimately we are good human beings and we have pure
yeah.
hearts. That is
And
important.
here's the thing, y'all. Let people love the thing that they love. Just
hmm
you don't have to be a bitch about it. You don't have to be mean about it. Just
Yeah,
let
it's not
people
hurting
be
you.
excited about the thing that they're excited about. If you're not excited about it, you can at least be like, cool for you, whatever, moving on to the next. But like, let children are not the only people that get to be excited about things, okay? Let adults be excited about the weird shit that they like, okay? Unless it's
hmm
bestiality or pedophilia. Those are not cool things to be excited about. You should be very unexcited about those, or like murder.
Yeah, well said. Well said, Mayor.
Don't be a criminal, but just be excited about the stuff that you're excited about. And if people are being mean to you about being excited, they
And
are
are
A,
mean.
mean, and B, probably live a beige existence. So fuck them. Boom.
Live a rainbow existence. Don't live a beige life.
Yes.
Bumper
Rain.
sticker.
Bumper stickers.
Have you ever listened to
Someday,
Matthew McConaughey's memoir, Green Lights?
dude,
I made you listen to it.
you played me some of it, and it may be the single greatest piece of audio that's ever been recorded is Matthew McConaughey reading his own memoir. It's astoundingly great.
He will occasionally just interrupt any thought in the middle of the book and just be like, bumper sticker, and say some pearl of Texas wisdom. It's
Yeah.
delightful.
It's
Second
so
only to Arnold Schwarzenegger's audiobook, Be Useful,
beautiful.
which I love as well.
Jesus. Well, maybe someday if I ever stop being sick, maybe
You
I
will.
we'll make merch at some point, and one of them
Ooh,
can
that'd be fun.
live a rainbow existence.
Beautiful sentiment.
Beautiful sentiment.
This episode is also a bit of a challenge for us in that we are trying to keep it under an hour, and we are right at 52 minutes, which is great.
Great. We could have bullshitted way more about unrelated shit.
We could have. We'd have plenty more to say about nonsense.
Yeah. Let's
maybe we should talk
this.
Thoughts and takeaways.
Let's wait for it.
Tambok na tiksi. Tambok na tiksi.
That was vibe check. It's vibe check time, guys.
Vibe check.
Vibe check. So
vibe check?
we don't rate things here based on like stars or whatever. We do it based on how's the story, how are the vibes. That's what we do here.
I do, but inside.
Evan, just go fucking write another goddamn 1-star review of Twisters, like the absolute loon you are.
It vacillates between 1 and 5 stars. I can't make up my mind.
Twisters? We're still okay. Well, let's do Galaxy Quest, since that is in fact what the fuck we're talking about today.
That is what this is about. Yes.
How is the story? How are the vibes?
Fine and fine.
Yeah. Literally, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Fine story, fine vibes. It is. What is that? Was it you and Jay were talking about? Is it better or worse than The Good Dinosaur?
It was Dax Schaefer and I.
Dax.
Yes. Is it better or worse than The Good Dinosaur? Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say it's just a little bit better than The Good Dinosaur.
I would say it's a little bit better. In context, like The Good Dinosaur is just a neutral movie.
It's a perfect 7 out of 10. Baseline, normal movie.
It
not
is a
great,
movie.
But not bad.
But
super
yeah, I think
good. As good as it can be. Very aptly named movie. Good Dinosaur.
It is a good dinosaur.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fine. Galaxy Quest is fine. It's fun. It's silly. It's great to have in the background. Dude, I told you
I
going
really
in.
enjoyed folding my laundry to this movie.
I
I really did. It's great.
I enjoyed last night. I woke up from taking a sickness midday nap.
Hmm.
I woke up, realized I needed to watch this movie. I think I may have had a
You
very
watched it in a fever dream.
I may have had a very, very slight fever, and I was, like, doing a crossword puzzle and, like, watching this movie. It was fine. It's fine. It's just fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. I perked up whenever Tony Shalhoub came on, and whenever there was like an alien creature effect. I was like, "Oh, cool!" And then
I know, exactly,
moved
and I
on.
loved anytime Alan Rickman was speaking or acting, I was like, 10 out of 10, my friend. You're great.
Oh my god! At the very end, when he's like the stupid, shitty line that he hates saying, and then
I
he
know.
like the one of the guys like dies in his arms, and he's like, "By Grabthal's hammer, you shall be avenged." I was like, "This guy's incredible."
He's such a good actor. He's such a good
He's so
actor. He's
good.
so funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's fine. Go watch it if you
agreed.
feel like it. If you don't, that's fine too.
You're
Um,
not missing much, but it's
you're not
fun.
you're not missing much, but it's an enjoyable romp.
Hmm.
So uh let's see here. I had
That's my
40
thoughts and
minutes.
takeaways.
I had 40 minutes of brain power in me, and
You
we've been now
before
recording
we started
16
before we
minutes
started
past
recording,
that.
you promised me 40 minutes of coherent conversation and 15 minutes of staring, and I think you have over delivered on your promise. So good on you.
Fantastic, because we're getting to the staring portion now. Thoughts,
It's time for
takeaways.
Meredith
It's
to
fun.
stare into the void. Thoughts and takeaways. I mean, watch this movie if you like Star Trek, if you or if you don't know anything about it and want to have a very, very truncated version of what that show is like in its entirety.
Agreed.
Watch it for Alan Rickman. Watch it because Sigourney Weaver's hot. Tim Allen is fine.
Sigourney Weaver's so fucking hot.
Hmm. They really did the push-up thing very well.
They did.
It's cool because she's always usually like kind of
Sorry.
got
Whew.
like a masculine hot energy, right? In most of the movies, as Ripley and
Yeah.
all these
I
things. But this one is very like, oh, cool. They like made her very feminine, and she's a great actress, so she pulls it all off very well.
Oh yeah. It works, baby. It works.
Plus, the nerd factor of just everything that she is great to have as a background thing.
Absolutely.
Background
So,
thing.
background thing. I have many background things.
You do. Plants, shelves, posters.
It's all
curtains,
background things in my life.
woven
I don't.
boxes, dressers. Evan names things behind Meredith.
These are all books about plants, like
Mhm.
building soil health, and this is your mind on plants, and the mushroom color atlas. It's all really cool shit. Anyway, it's fine.
Super cool.
So, like, here's the deal, y'all. You can find Evan on @ArtofEvanK on things that are social media based. You can find me at
You can let me take care of this if you want.
Lawn.
But no, actually, I really
Wait,
like this. I really like Sick
Lawn.
Mare doing the outro.
Lawn
Lawn Blatty Div
Daddy
Deer,
_lives
Art of
here.
Evan K, social media.
Social media is like a scourge upon this world, but we have to do it to be successful content creators. So you can also find us on YouTube at Brother Sibling Movie. That's all one word. You can find us
That's
on
right.
Instagram at Brother Sibling Movie. All one
I'm really
word.
looking forward to making making our little shorts versions, like finding the little 1 minute segments where we're just
Oh
being
my
stupid
God.
goofballs and throwing those onto like the YouTube shorts and the TikTok. There is no TikTok yet, but maybe we'll make one because
Oh man, I'm so excited for this to make it out into the world.
I can tell you sound super excited.
You can also, if you want to learn more about Stan Winston and if you want to learn more about his creature shop or whatever, his family set up the Stan Winston School of Character Arts, which is a fully
Yeah,
online thing. It seems really fucking cool. I don't know, man. We'll put a link to it in something,
he was a
which is
cool
a note
guy,
to
and his
myself.
legacy was great.
Yeah, which I'm the one that writes the episode descriptions, and sometimes I forget what we've talked about, and I don't remember what I am supposed to put in the episode notes. Oh, you can
Oh,
also email us thoughts about movies, or the caliber of our artistry at
yeah, the
an email
Excalibur.
address.
Tell us
What's the
everything you think
email
about
address?
us, but no negative feedback, only positive stuff.
Absolutely not. Oh, it's brothersiblingmovie at
Brothersiblingmovie at
gmail.com.
gmail.com is literally the easiest thing we have. Name a
It's just
podcast at Gmail.
brother sibling movie, guys. It's just all brother sibling movie. We love you. Goodbye.
Yes, Meredith needs to take a nap now, so go do that. Go watch
I'm like,
Galaxy Quest with your sibling and space out for an hour and 40 minutes.
it's
It'll be
great.
totally worth it.
It'll be totally worth it, much like having a sibling is worth it. Go call your sibling.
Go watch a movie with your sibling. We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Pew! Good night, Mayor.
Oh, I thought you were doing the that's me powering down noise, which is very much
that's good
what
too.
it felt like.
Power off. Goodbye, podcast. Until next time. What's the outro music? Hey, good job.
Dude, you have to stop the recording at some point.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm just getting any more little great nuggets of anything that you might give me because this is gold.
Dude.
Don't worry. The episode is over. This is just going at the top of the episode if I need to laugh at anything.
Like, with your face, and you're like, have an immune system and are like, I'm going to poke the bear that's my sibling who's sick and doesn't have body parts that function.
At least I'm not literally poking you, your actual body, because then you would sick Selkie on me and I would be torn limb from limb.
Selkie wouldn't. First of all, Selkie does not defend me. She's a
cuddle bear.
She is a pointless.
Oh, she's not pointless.
Dog.
She's a big old beautiful pillow.
She is. If you want a sentient weighted blanket, that is what my dog is for. She's the sweetest creature on the planet, but she is dumb as a bag of hammers, and she will never protect me. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, thank God. It makes me feel so much better knowing that you have an insufficient guard dog at your home where you live.
I do. She's just pointless. I mean, like, not pointless because she's like, all of her intelligence and like survival skills were replaced with just like love and a desire for cheese. So she doesn't have a
whole wheel of cheese. No, I'm not even mad. I'm very impressed.
She's like, she can't even. I don't think she even could be mean to anybody because she's like, that part of my brain is full of glitter bombs. Like, there's nothing up there. So I don't know, man. Yeah. I'm just gonna like try and survive, Yeah. Like, we're all
keep surviving. But no, for real, take a nap, take a moment, drink some more tea, and don't talk for the rest of the day. You've done more than your duty, and I salute you.
You know when you just feel all the energy sipping out of your body?
Mm-hmm. Like how I feel talking to you right now.
That. Fuck off, man. Fuck off. Go have a weird fucking. What are you doing?
I'm going to Hardly Strictly
Bluegrass in San Francisco.
Yes, it's going to be great.
You and I live such different lives. I could not imagine traveling that far to be around that many people, around that many loud noises. Actually, one of my nightmares, potentially.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Don't worry. You don't have to. You don't have to live it. You just have to hear me talk about it.
We'll talk about it next week on brother sibling movie. I did almost
That's
forget
right.
the name of our podcast.
All right, I'll let you go. Love you, Sibs. Be good.
I love you
Get some
too.
rest.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.